What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's market analysis. We're going to be covering from today, which is the 16th, through Friday, which is the 20th, right? So I'm going to go ahead and break down what I'm looking at the markets right now and the areas that we're going to be looking at to trade and sell or buy the market from. All right. Now, I'm only going to be showing you guys the areas that we're going to look for entries within, right? If you want the actual entry itself, or the actual signal for the entry or the setup, the TP, whatever the case is, you're gonna have to join the mentorship, right? Join the team. There we send our signals and the setups that we look at further in proceeding with these analysis. All right, so we're gonna be covering the analysis. I'm gonna give you guys my ideas and what I'm seeing in these markets, and we'll cover crypto a little bit at the end because I know crypto's been crazy lately, so we'll look at that as well. Now, first off, we're gonna start with DXY, as we always do. Now, with DXY, you can already see that I have this area kind of zoned out. This is going to be the first area that I'm going to be looking for a buy from, which is this little reaccumulation that occurred here. So essentially we have a little reaccumulation inside of a whole reaccumulation. So understand that we could just fly past this area. Hold on, let me delete this. Understand that the market could just completely fly past this area and continue down, but this is still not invalid, okay? The only way that this becomes invalid is if we break this low. Now, if we break this low, then I can see us coming down here. And then if we, invalidate that area, then I can see us coming down into here. So essentially we have a lot of demand that I could see the market potentially reacting from, okay? That's the thing with DXY. Since DXY has been so bullish, guys, I mean, I don't really see any potential for selling until the market shows us a reason to sell. So right now it's just been giving us reaccumulation after reaccumulation after reaccumulation. Okay, so we're gonna continue to buy it. DXY, EU are correlated, so I always look at DXY before I look at EU, so I can kind of predict what's gonna happen on EU just by looking at DXY. Right now I can see, before we even get to EU, just the fact that DXY is going down, right now I know that EU is going up. Now we're probably gonna see the same thing but opposite. We're gonna see a redistribution instead of a reaccumulation. So let's get into that right now. So same thing, right? We have this manipulation zone right here that we're going to look for a trade inside of. We're going to wait for the market to reach that area. We're going to look for us to continue lower, right? This whole area here is a redistribution, all right? This area is the area of supply. We know that some type of selling was occurred here by the institution. So we know this is the area that we want to sell from, all right? So essentially now all we have to do is be patient and wait for the market to slowly make its way up here. It's good that we are going with this slow momentum. When we see slow momentum like this, that means buyers are not interested in the market. That's good. Since we want to sell, we don't want to see buyers interested in the market, right? So that's another thing that we look at is momentum, right? You can see how fast this market moved down compared to how slow we're going back up. It's telling us that sellers are in control. Okay, so EU is pretty simple. We're gonna look for sales inside this area. Now if we go past this area, then we have our second area right here, which we do have our trade that is going right now. This trade is currently at what, 1 to 22. Now of course we're not holding the whole 1 to 22, right? That is absurd, right? So essentially, we've been took partials. Partials have been taken since here, since over here, since over here. There's a lot of partials that's been taken. So, there's no way that we're holding 1 to 22. All right, 1 to 122. Okay. So now if this area gets invalidated, then this is our last area that we're gonna look for until we reach structure. All right. So pretty simple. We're really just looking at these supply zones to sell from, since EU is just so massively bearish with all of these continuations to the down move, right? All these distributions or redistributions towards the downside is showing us that sellers are in control of this market. GU is no different. Okay, so right now we are inside of this first area that I'm looking for a sell from. Now honestly, just by what time that we're in here, if we don't slow down, we could just go past this and continue up to here, which I really don't care. To be honest, I really don't care which area this trades from, as long as this trades from one of these areas. All right, now preferably since last week, since the last market analysis, I was waiting for us to come here until we gave this redistribution on Friday, I believe, was it? No, it was on like a Wednesday or something. So yeah, I was waiting for us to come up here originally. So if we do go past this area, that's fine by me. But I am gonna see if the market by Asian session, by Asian session, let's see if we can slow down. If we can slow down this area and give us some type of lower time frame entry by the time that New York comes, because I want to see that New York manipulation come in and set us up for a entry. So I don't care what's going on right now. So really, I'm just gonna wait until London and New York to show me if we're gonna invalidate this area or not. And if we do end up invalidating this area, that's fine. We're gonna wait for us to come up here to look for our sell. All right. So both these areas are valid areas to look for sell from GU. Right now, I wouldn't kind of force yourself into a trade. We are going into Asian session. I don't trade Asian session, so I'm just gonna sit back and let this do its thing, and then I'm gonna wait for London to come in and see what London gives us. All right. So GU is also massively bearish as well. Right, we have these two supply zones that we're looking at. If we continue higher, we can reach these areas. Right, if we continue higher, we could reach areas like this. So it's like there's a lot of areas that I'm gonna look for sells from. The only way that I look for buys is once we start taking out this, right? Because this was the newest candle of FOMC. So if we start taking out that, we get a retracement. Then we could possibly look for a hedge back up into areas like this. But until then, I'm just gonna wait and look for the sells. AU is almost the exact same thing. We have a redistribution and we have another redistribution here. Okay, I didn't mark it out the same way I did this one because this one was a little bigger, but this is another redistribution here. You can see I have this blacked out area, which is FOMC candle. Well, not blacked out, but it's red, right? I don't know what I'm saying, but it's red. So this is the FOMC candle that occurred. Now, essentially, it's the same thing with GU. I am gonna either take a trade from here or take a trade from here. All right, it's simple as that. Now, like I said, I would hope for us to just slow down here and let Asian go by as we're just giving us some type of range, and then London comes in, makes this manipulation, and then we'll look for that entry. If that doesn't happen, then I could see us continue up to here, which is fine by me. Either way, I'm looking for a sell either here or in here. Okay, one of those two areas. Now, if we continue higher, then we could look for a sell over here. All right, or if we continue higher than that, we'll look for a sell here. Okay, the only way, it's the same thing as GU, the only way I look for buys is once we start taking out these areas, that's telling me that some type of buyers are interested in the market and we could see some big retracements. All right, but as long as DXY continues its bullish momentum, I don't think we'll see that. All right, so everything right now, all these, especially EU, is dependent on what the dollar index is doing. Depends on how strong the dollar is. If the dollar is going to continue going higher, or are we going to get some type of form of retracement? So if we go back to the dollar, you can see that we've been buying for a while. Now, our last area of real demand, because don't get me wrong, this reaccumulation, this reaccumulation, this reaccumulation, these are areas of demand, right? But our last, big area of demand is all the way down here. So the market could honestly come here, invalidate this, invalidate this, invalidate this, and trade from here and continue higher, right? That could potentially happen, and this will be a valid pullback because honestly, we haven't seen a pullback from this market yet. The market has just been continuation, continuation, continuation. We haven't seen a pullback yet. I don't know if we will, and to be honest, I'm not going to predict that we're going to get a pullback. If we get a pullback, we do. If we don't, we don't, right? So as long as we continue to give us this reaccumulations and these continuation moves, I'm going to continue buying and selling these pairs the way that it's going, all right? So, Euro JPB. And the last market analysis, I talked about Euro JPB a little bit when I talked about the lower time frame structure, right? So essentially right now what we have, and you can see we're targeting it right now, we have this reaccumulation zone here. And I have this 1 hour candle that I'm looking for an entry out of. Okay. Now I'm looking for an entry out of this area specifically, but doesn't mean, right, we can't break this area. Now, if we break this area, I'm not going to stop looking for buys. As long as we don't break this low, I'm going to continuously look for buys. All right. The only reason I'm looking for an entry inside this area specifically is because this is the last unmitigated area. Right, so I mean, the market could still come here and still do its thing and then go up, right? But this was the only area that I could conclude as the last area that needs mitigation. But we could trade inside of this whole demand itself and continue higher. Okay, I've seen the market done that before plenty of times, so it could happen. So, you know, I'm not going to exclude that factor out of there. All right, just letting you guys know, we could just go past this and accumulate, or go do something down here, and I'll still take that trade because this area is still valid. As long as we don't take this low, this area is still valid, because this tiny area might not be enough to hold this sell going down. So you understand what I'm saying? So you gotta have some type of safety net for this. All right. Moving on to USD/CHF. Now USD/CHF should be super easy. Just buy it. Honestly, just buy USD/CHF. This market has been so bullish. Our last real point of structure is all the way down here. All the way down here. So you see how I told you guys on DXY, as the continuation moves are going, we're going to continue to play the continuation moves. Well, look at this. What if you're waiting for a pullback on USD/CHF, right? It never gave you one. Look, reaccumulation, 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 right? Look at this, right? You would have been waiting for weeks or even months for a pullback, and you would have never caught a trade on here because you're still waiting for a pullback. So as these markets are trending and they're showing you these continuation moves, you have no choice but to play the continuation moves. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Zooming in, our latest area of demand is this reaccumulation right here, right? We have this candle, well, not really candle, this manipulation that occurred here. Now I am gonna see if we'll trade from this tiny area, which is another small reaccumulation. I'm pretty sure we'll just invalidate it, but if the market comes down here and gives me something on lower time frame, then I'll potentially take it. But honestly, the actual area that I want to see us trade from is this manipulation here. All right, we'll probably see something happen there. All right, so both these areas are valid to look for, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna come inside this huge area itself. So just be cautious of that. Don't just bet your whole account on this tiny area. Okay. Okay, so looking at Aud Cad. Aud Cad and Aud USD are correlated as well. Since Aud USD, we have already talked about it, is moving towards the downside, you can kind of see that Aud Cad is doing the exact same thing, right? Let me go ahead and put this as red as well, just like Aud USD. All right, so essentially we have this small redistribution, which is a continuation move. Then we have this huge redistribution, which is right here. So essentially, this market could react within either one, right? We could either come up here, give us an entry from right here, or we could come here and give us an entry from within this. All right, so these are the two areas I'm gonna look for sales from within Aud Cad. All right, it's pretty that simple. I don't really have much more to say about it. We've been seeing redistributions forever. Honestly, if we go past this high, we're gonna come all the way into here, and we're gonna target this area, this huge area here. So it's pretty much you're seeing these, most of these markets are repeating themselves, right? These markets right now, guys, are simple, right? You can kind of see that I'm flying through these markets right now, and I'm, you know, going here and going there, and I'm showing you guys these areas, and I'm looking for entries or sales, buys, whatever the case is. I'm looking for the entries inside these areas, and you can see how fast I'm going through them. It's because I've been analyzing these markets for a while, right? And now the markets are trending. When the markets are trending, it's pretty easy to know where you're gonna buy from, know where you're gonna sell from, because they're only gonna give you one or two things. All right, that's why Wyckoff is so important. Once you understand how Wyckoff works, you know that this area is an area of supply and this area is areas of supply. So it's only one or two things that are gonna happen here. An area of supply, you're only looking for sales. So I have no choice but to wait for the market to reach here and look for a sell. I'm not gonna sell the market here because there's no supply sitting here. I know there's supply sitting here because this is a redistribution. This is a Wyckoff schematic. Right, there was some type of seller selling the market here to create this schematic. Okay, so that's how I can just know where I'm gonna sell from, where I'm gonna buy from, as I've just been easily going through it. Okay, these are things that we teach in the mentorship if you guys want to learn more about it. And also, you can kind of see that I'm looking at these large scale areas. Now, we don't trade, right, this just huge area by itself. We go on lower time frame and we take our lower time frame confirmation entries to take it down. So you can see this huge area. We'll probably catch like a 5 pip stop loss out of here. All right. and that's by going on a lower time frame and catching the lower time frame move, because lower time frame is going to be the first thing that's going to show you if the market is going to move towards your direction or not. Moving on to USD CAD, you can kind of see we are inside one of my areas that I'm looking at now. The timing, right? The timing, just by the timing, I can kind of tell that we're probably not going to hold this tiny reaccumulation. But as you can see, this tiny reaccumulation is only part of a bigger reaccumulation. So this whole area here, you can see I have this second zone right here. This whole area is valid as long as we don't break this low. All right, now if we break this low, then most likely than not, we're going to come down into here. Okay, we're going to come down into here where we first got this accumulation and this reaccumulation. So hopefully, right, I want to see this area get respected, but if it doesn't, then we're going to have to wait for the market to slow down inside of here and give us that lower time frame as long as we don't break this low. All right. But USD CAD, I'm looking for buyers. Okay, that's the simple way of saying it. CAD CHF. Now I'll be honest with you. I don't trust this move that we gave today. Honestly, since it's Asian session, I would have loved to see the Asian session rated and then we go higher. So I'm not gonna take anything out of this by itself. What I will do is I will take a trade below there. Okay. We'll take a trade below there, but inside of this itself, I'm not interested in that. So I'll just wait. Either we're gonna see another just reaccumulation. I'll take that, you know, take the entry here and go higher, or I'm just gonna wait for the market to make its way back into here or into here. Also, this market is bullish as well, so take advantage of these bullish markets. Okay, guys, just take advantage. Right, when you're seeing a bullish market, you only want to see one thing. When you're seeing a bullish market, if the market is too far from its actual structure, which in this case our structure is all the way down here, right? That's where our structure is. All of these are just continuation moves. All of these are just reaccumulation. Continuation moves don't hold structure. All right, that's a secret for you. That's one thing we teach in the mentorship. But continuation moves don't hold structure. So the market could just take all of this out, come down here, and continue back up. It can happen, right? I'm telling you, it can happen. You're probably wondering how, but that's how the markets are. That's why structure is the most important thing. All right, that's why it's number one in my keys. But so one thing you want to see in a bullish market, except for structure, is reaccumulation. Reaccumulation can happen one or two ways. It's going to happen like this, or it could happen like this. All right, now that's just the pattern. Okay, that's just the pattern. I'm just showing you guys the pattern. There's way more that goes into it, like the creek, right? And then you have this lower time frame here, and then you have the actual break of structure that confirms the reaccumulation. So don't just look at the pattern. There's a lot that goes into the pattern. All right. But that's usually how it's going to look. You can see right here, show you an example. You have your creek. You essentially have the market move up, down, up, right? But inside of here, you can see a rate of liquidity. You can see right here, we have another reaccumulation that could have been part of a accumulation. So you could have caught an entry right here. And then this reaccumulation, the entire one is not confirmed until we break this high. So that's your BOS. And then the creek is your first indication of a reaccumulation. So yeah, you see how much just went into it just by me talking about it way more. When we're looking at crypto, we want to talk about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin usually tells us what all the other coins are going to do. And as you can see, we have crashed lately, right? Honestly, we have broken an area that I didn't want to see broken, which was this accumulation. So I'm only going to play this one or two ways. Either I need us to start invalidating this supply, or I need us to create a huge range which shows us an accumulation just like this one. So I need another accumulation just like this to occur for me to start buying this again, because honestly we could continue all the way down into this area here. We could go all the way down here, and this is like what, 10,000, so 13,000. We can come all the way down there, right? So imagine what's going to happen to most of crypto if Bitcoin is all the way at 10,000. Now honestly, I hope a lot of people takes advantage of it if it goes down there, right? If you see Bitcoin at $10,000, take advantage. Probably won't see that again, so take advantage of that, right? But like I said before, Bitcoin is bear right now, so honestly we need to start taking out this high for me to see some type of bullish movements come in here. All right, or we get a accumulation, like I said, just like this one. Okay, so now that is the market analysis. All right, so let me know if you have any questions, if you have any comments, concerns. If you want to contact me, the best way to contact me is on Instagram. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.